First of all, thank you very much for coming. That's appreciated. I know that's a very long event for us, through the 2 days for you and 3 for me. And we'll be talking about things that you already have. Basically, the whole event was about what is to come. But in our case, all the tools that I will be talking about in the next 20 minutes, you already have them. Blink, central deployment tool, Zero touch portal, Gaia API and Dynamics CLI and Gaia. This is not something new. All these tools were released between 2 years and 1 year ago. And the story I would like to give you is about coming from dark ages onto the modern world. And basically, the idea here is all the things that people are doing on the field related to, wow, that's even cooler than before. Yeah, if you turn it off, they will fall asleep, which I don't blame you for. So all the tools that you do on the field, if you're a technical consultant or end customer, or you're helping your customers to do installations, configuration, patching, backups, restore, deploying the gateway, making changes on the deployments. It used to be very cumbersome. It used to take lots and lots of manual labor. It used to take enormous expertise. You would have to master all the tools, Web UIs, Expert Shell, Cliche, and other things. And well, I was doing it for the last 15 years, and I was sometimes feeling myself like a caveman, because it has to do it on per gateway, per element of your security system, and it takes a lot of time. If I ask you, how much time does it take to install a gateway? Can you give me a number? If you want to install a new security gateway, how much time does it take? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 hours? 1 day, wow, brilliant, yeah. Personal story, in the year 2006 I was interviewing for a job, and the guy who wanted to hire me asked, how much time do you need to install a Nokia cluster? It was a day when the IPSO appliances were still around. You probably never heard about those, but we once supported IPSO appliances as a platform. And I was doing these installations. I was working for QA Proper in Checkpoint. I was doing these installations probably 10 times a day, because every time you need to check the new software version, you have to reimage the box and start from scratch. So I was knowing my way around the thing, and basically he asked me, how much time do you need to install a cluster? I said, well, if I will be fast, I probably can do it in 2 hours. And he told me, no, that's not the right answer. Think again. I thought that maybe, well, there are some corners I can cut, I can do 2 installations at once, so probably faster. I said, okay, well, hour and a half. How about hour and a half? He said, no, we charge our customers for 4 hours of professional services to install a cluster. And in your case, it's a day. This is not what we want. We basically want it to be automated, fast, efficient, seamless. We want to deploy in bulks, and it's like getting from very cumbersome Fire Stick and spinning it for a day. Well, we want it to be like clicking on the gas stove and the fire suddenly comes. So basically, we already have these capabilities today with all the tools I mentioned at the beginning. And let's start with Blink. So you said 1 day, right? So Blink allows you to install an appliance in how much time? Do you know? Did you hear about Blink? Okay, so it takes 5 minutes to deploy a security gateway. Okay, so why we suddenly coming from hour and a half to 5 minutes? This clicker doesn't really work. Basically, how it goes, you need a Blink image. You need the special image. You put it on a USB stick, you stack it in the gateway, and then you just start it, gateway boots, and it takes 5 minutes to install. Why does it take that that much time. I mean, you are not really installing. You're basically replacing the existing file system with something that is pre-cooked. You just dump the files. Copying files is much easier than installing the operating system. What's with the clicker? Come on. What's with the clicker? Basically, you also have one-step wizard where you can put your SIG and measurement interface data. In 5 minutes, the gateway is ready. If you don't have USB, you can basically take the image and the installation file, put it on the file system, and run it from there. And yet again, it takes 5 minutes. If you want to add advanced configuration, many interfaces, static routes, there is a file that is available as part of the Blink image. And when we released this tool 1 year ago, it was covering gateways specifically, and today the situation is being changed. We can deploy path management and gateways. We can run Blink images on open servers on the condition that the Gaia is being installed before that. It can be done via USB. You can do it from the file local system. You can even call the Blink image installation from the first-time wizard. And you can call it from the CPUs today. So we advanced really fast with that. Well, what's with the clicker? Basically, you can use it to upgrade, to reinstall gateways instead of upgrading them in place. And in one shot, you have not just GA version, but also the latest supported PSA. And the next step will be to, next step for this year with Blink will be to cover more flavors of installation. We will be covering Maestro-related appliances. We will be covering MDS and login servers. Okay, zero touch. Zero touch is about deploying the gateways. Could you please take it outside, if it's okay with you? So let's talk about zero touch. Zero touch is to deploy gateways somewhere remotely. Instead of going to remote places, to other countries, to offices in the middle of nowhere, we can send an appliance there, and considering the appliance can be connected to the internet, we can deploy this appliance remotely. All you need to do is to forget about this clicker and just press it. You log into the Zero Touch portal, you claim your gateway, you set up the configuration. Yet again, even here, you can use the Blink image as a source of the installation. You claim your gateway by the MAC address and the SKU. You choose the profile that you want to deploy on this gateway. It can be per gateway, it can be for a population of gateway, depending on what you need. You put all your configuration here, including the Clish scripts that would allow your firewall to be ready for operation with all the IPs and static routes defined. And on the portal, you can see which stage the deployment actually is. This is very easy. Appliance gets to the internet, checks the status. If it's being claimed, then the installation starts, and you don't have to be present. All you need is to connect the gateway to internet. It's very easy. You can send appliances to remote site. You don't really need a qualified personnel to help you there. And we want to extend it as well to the new level. So basically, Zero Touch will be available as a plug and play, and it's already part of the RAT platform. You will be able to define the different zones, and you should be able to delegate this action to someone who has no idea about IT whatsoever. The idea here is you can, in RAT.40, you will be able to generate an installation link. Imagine there is an office where nobody really knows how to connect computers. It will be a challenge for them even to plug in the interface. So what we are doing, we are creating a special link for them. We'll copy-paste this link and we'll send it via email to a person who will be taking care of the gateway. Once they click, they have the first-time wizard. They have very easy explanation with several steps on what to do. They will be shown the image of the appliance and they will be asked to connect to interface. If interface is connected and the appliance is not starting the installation, then there is some additional troubleshooting whether or not port is blinking. It's very self-explanatory. Anybody can do it. They go through the wizard, and if the device is blinking, yes, then the installation starts, and you can control the process, and on their end, they also see how the installation progresses. I said with zero-touch portal, it is important that the gateway has connectivity to internet. This is not exactly the cases for some of the offices. Some of the offices may not be able to connect to internet if it's some closed environment. For those cases, we're preparing a new thing that will come in the first half of this year. It's an offline zero-touch installation. You can create the zero-touch portal internally and use it to mass deployments on the gateways in the data center under condition the data center is not connected to internet. Zero-touch portal will be covering both checkpoint appliances and open servers. Once again, we want to extend it to open servers, and by the end of the year, we're planning to integrate this functionality to the Smart Console to simplify and to consolidate all the management tools that you will need. Now, let's talk about the central deployment tool. Yet again, it's not something you introduced the last year, and the idea here is that you can leverage security management to do certain stuff. You can, instead of doing upgrades and deploying hotfixes on per gateway basis, you can push them from smart management, smart center, or MDS, leveraging management capability, and SIG. Basically, the requirements for these tools are very easy. All the supported versions are covered by this tool. All different cluster versions, and the tool itself, it's using offline CPUs packages. It stores on the management, and then it sends these packages through the SIG channel. It can be something really simple: select a gateway, push a package, and go on, or it can be something a bit more advanced. You can build different deployments plan depending on the mixed population of your gateways. You can choose multiple actions in each of the deployment plan, and you centrally deploy it. Now, one of the favorite things for me with central deployment tool is about RMA mode. RMA mode means you leverage this tool to replace a faulty gateway. RMA tool works twofold. First of all, first stage is to collect the information from the gateway. It means you're collecting the version, installed hotfixes, and OS configuration from the gateway. You store it on the management, and if gateway is failing down, if you need to replace the appliance, you can repush it in one shot to the new gateway and restore it to the way it used to be, including the installation of the all required hotfixes. All you need to have is the offline packages stored on the management and information collected from pre-existing gateway, which also makes it really, really interesting for backing up your gateway population. If you think about it, it has all you need from the gateway side: OS configuration, routing, and networking info, and also the software main and hotfix level from the thing. Now, for this year, we plan to extend the capabilities of this tool. You will be able to install jumbos and hotfixes on the gateways in the cluster. You will be able to run parallel tasks. Today, you have to do it per deployment plan. In the future, you will be able to do it through in parallel, and most importantly, it's already available for early availability on our 840 as part of the Smart Console. This is how it looks. You take your gateways. Unfortunately, the resolution here is not that ideal, but the slide is supposed to show you that for specific cluster you can choose to push package from Smart Console. How does it sound? Cool. Now, to summarize all these three tools, Blink, Zero Touch and Central Deployment Tool cover most of the gateway side operations. You can deploy fast, you can deploy on remote with the easy step wizard, and you can reintroduce patching through the gateway population with Central Deployment Tool. This is not everything about orchestration. In fact, we used to call orchestration something that is much more important, and it's about automation. It's about running certain API actions that would convert your static security environment into software-defined. Let's talk about that. We have very interesting tools for that, and the tools that we have are about Gaia API and Dynamic CLI. So let's cover Dynamic CLI first. So Dynamic CLI is, yet again, something that is available for a year. Are you guys using that? Anybody? Did you hear about it? Dynamic CLI? No? Okay, so let's see what we are talking about. So first of all, it's available as a package, external package that you can install on any flavor of RAT environment. You can download it. It covers the whole population of Checkpoint appliances, open servers and appliances alike, management or gateway. And it is integrated with RAT.40. So what it is about? There are certain amount of operations that you have to do on per gateway basis, usually. You do it, any network change, you go to the web UI, only go to the CLISH. You need to change kernel parameters, you need to fine-tune your cluster Excel to do something related to core Excel and other performance features, deploy a license. Usually you go do it via CLI or via CLISH, and sometimes you need expert. If you, in the regular case, when you need to change some advanced parameters, you have to go to expert. Expert is a bit problematic, especially when we are talking about certain limited admin roles. So let's imagine that you have multiple admin roles and some of the admins are unable to get to expert. In my scenario, let's say I have a super admin Crimson King and he wants to delegate certain operations to his minion, to his helper, who doesn't have the full admin rights, who doesn't have access to expert. The problem here is once you have a limited admin role and you give this guy access to expert shell, he's a super admin. He is no longer limited. We want to avoid this. So let's imagine I'm asking a limited admin role to change some kernel parameter, enable multi-queue, and verify that affinity is assigned to the interfaces. The answer will be, well, give me an expert password, right? No, because in this case we have Dynamic CLI package deployed on a gateway. So let's see, what's going on here? It's supposed to play video and it doesn't. Okay, let me fix it. So what happens here, a super admin enables Dynamic CLI, and in Dynamic CLI there are commands ported to the CLISH, expert commands ported to CLISH and available for the limited admin role. So basically I need to take my limited role and add operations related to security gateway. Normally you would do this from expert shell. With Dynamic CLI you are able to do these operations from CLISH with CLISH-like syntax. For example, the guy uses show multi-queue, show security gateway, and then he checks parameter, the kernel parameter, which normally is not available from CLISH. He checks what is this parameter is set, and then he is able, with the set command, he is able to change it to a different value. From CLISH, no export. It doesn't touch. Then we need to enable multi-queue. Yet again, it's done from Clish. Show multi-queue affinity not enabled. It's all off. Then on the affinity, nothing really changed. So he will be enabling affinity and multi-queue from Clish with a limited admin role, and I can take this role from him if I want later on. Okay, this is very cool. Now, by dynamic CLI, everything is done from Clish, and by the end of the story, all the tasks that I delegated to my limited admin, he did because of the dynamic CLI. Now, on top of that, I can even add some custom script and port them into dynamic CLI so they would be available from Clish. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it's not playing again. Now, this is how it goes. First, I want to create a script. In my case, this script is very simple. I'm just printing some information out of the script. It doesn't really do anything, but it can be much more elaborate. So I created a script, I give it the executable permissions, and it's now available from expert shell. Now what I can do as an admin with full rights, I can port it to dynamic CLI. I will create an additional user role where this script will be available. It just take a couple of commands. So I'm saving the script, I'm giving it show firewall information, and then I'm rebooting it because it has to be available on a shell. I need to add the section now to admin role. And yet again, we are talking about limited admin roles, Clish only, no export access. So I created the new action in a new admin role. I added it to Roland's permissions, and when Roland is logging in on the gateway, he will be able to run this custom script from Clish. Okay. To complement the Gaia side of operations, since we are talking about automation, we now have REST API available on Gaia, and once more, REST API on Gaia is not something new. We have them for at least a year. We have several evolutions of that, and all the usual actions you do from Clish and Web UI, you should be able to do through API as well. So yet again, the API is available as a separate package for any R80 flavor, and it is included in R80.40 image. So on R80.40 you don't have to install anything extra. There is an API reference, and basically this API reference will also be available on the gateway once you deploy the package. And here, what we will be doing, the demo that I wanted to show you, is about fully automated gateway deployment. We take a new, freshly installed gateway with API package available on the device. And what we want to do, we want to take any of available automation tools, whether it will be Terraform or just a Python script or something more elaborate that you use. I will be using Terraform. So all the steps from the gateway configuration to the policy push are now automated through different APIs. We leverage both gateway and the management API here. And this is how it goes. First of all, let's check that my freshly installed gateway is not even configured. It's not even set as the gateway. It says no firewall model. It only has management IP address, nothing else. Okay, what I want to do with this, nothing is configured. No DNS, no NTP, just a single IP address to reach the gateway. But it has the REST API running, so it is available for automation. Now I can go to Gaia API reference. I can check the commands that are available for me. I will be configuring interfaces, DNS and NTP server on this appliance through APIs without touching it anymore. So this is my Terraform playbook, which configures parameters that I need. Interfaces IP addresses for and DNS and NTP. All I need is just to run it. Okay, so the first stage is to run the first part of Terraform to configure the gateway before it is available for us. So basically, I run this playbook, and well, I say yes to run it. It runs, and then I can check what's going on in the gateway. After reboots, the gateway is fully operational. It is configured as a gateway now. It doesn't have any policy, so it comes up with initial. SIG is not yet established. It's just the OS side configuration. And basically, to check that interfaces are there and NTP there, I can run some checks. All the IP addresses are there, static routes as well. And well, it's fully ready for the next step. Next step will be to leverage the management side of the API. I will create a gateway object on the management. Let's see how I'm doing that. Gateway is not configured here, right? So nothing is configured on the management side. This is just for illustration purposes. All I need is my Terraform, nothing else. So I have a script that configures a simple gateway object. It initializes SIG, and the next step will be to push the policy. So basically, I can follow this script run on the Smart Console because I will have the gateway object appearing for me at some point, and you can see trust is established here. And the next step is, well, I want to push policy to this environment. So the third and the last step in Terraform is to run the rest of the scenario to push policy. And yet again, Smart Console here is just to see that operation is actually performed and finished. So once it's done, the gateway is here. It's on Open Server in my case. Everything, well, this is not what I wanted to show. Yeah, this one. This one is installing policy. And just a single command through API. In my case, now I run it, and then all I need is to go to the gateway. Well, you can follow the policy installation, of course, through Smart Console if you want, but you don't have to. Installation is done, and I go to the gateway. Yeah, policy is installed here, but let's check that's on the gateway side. It's also done. FWS start will show us that the policy is being deployed. So in my case, what I did here is I've taken a script with Terraform, which configured it from A to Z. I covered everything: gateway deployments, OS configuration, policy creation, object creation, and policy push through management APIs. Now, things with API, since we introduced it the last year, quite advanced now. We can create NTP in zones. It was not available before that. And we want to extend it even more. So setting static routes, SNMP control, auditing, and VSX-related commands will be introduced to the Gateway API later on. Okay, so to summarize, what we have here, it's very simple. We have APIs available as integral parts of our environment. They are add-ons for all the versions before R80.40. On R80.40, both these packages are included. You can automate, you can run them in a seamless manner, and you have fully software-defined security system by leveraging these tools. Okay, thank you very much for coming. I have to run to the next session in another room.